Hey, what's going on, guys? Sinister Force here. Welcome back to my channel. Got me and my little baby here, Severus. I just wanted to come to you guys with a new video today talking about the new movie, Separation. Now, the reason why I posted on Facebook that my review might be a little bit of a shock is because normally people are like, oh, well, you like every scary movie. It's really hard to disappoint you with a scary movie. But this one, you might be shocked, so continue watching.
Hiya, Georgie. Time to float. Hiya, Georgie. Float too.
Alright, guys, so I did want to go ahead and start the video by saying, yes, this is not my favorite horror movie whatsoever. I give this one maybe a 6.5 out of 10. Just because I still did like the music, I still did like some of the imagery. Creepiness wise, it wasn't really there. You could probably see some scarier things at like Not Scary Farm, to be honest, but you know, not to be too harsh about it, but it is true. It didn't really feel too much like a scary movie, and I'll get into what I mean a little bit later in the video. The jump scares weren't really there. It didn't have a super solid storyline, in my opinion, and it seemed like the ideas were a little bit borrowed. But just in case you guys haven't seen the movie yet, there is going to be spoilers ahead, so I will give you a moment to click away from the video if you have not yet seen the movie and you would like to. Don't let the movie get ruined for you. Go have your own opinion. Don't let anybody else on the internet tell you that you should or shouldn't watch a movie. Go and see for yourself. It's worth checking out, I guess, maybe on like a $5 ticket Tuesday if you have AMC. But you know, definitely don't let anybody's opinion curve it for you, okay? So this is just my opinion. It's totally valid for you to have a different one, but if you haven't seen it, go ahead and click away now. Yes, your opinion is valid too, baby. Don't worry about that. He has a lot to say about the movie too. He was right there in theater with me. He was hiding under the blanket, but you know, he was asleep half the time. So I don't know if you get an opinion, little buddy. He's just gonna sleep through this whole video. That's fine. So I'm gonna start to jump into what the movie was actually about. So the movie starts off, you see a married couple, or at least they were married, and they actually were recently separated. So there's already the title of the movie. Basically, the wife, Maggie, is really upset because Jeff just won't let go of this dream about becoming an artist for, you know, a comic strip that he wrote called The Grizzlykin. The Grizzlykin was basically just a couple of really weird, ugly-looking puppets that I don't know if they were supposed to be cute, funny, scary, terrifying. I don't know what the goal of the Grizzlykin was. It didn't really get too much into that. But all I know is that the little girl that they had together named Jenny had basically dolls or models of these little puppets in her room. And boy, were they really creepy. So you kind of see like just a couple of their basic issues, like, you know, Jeff won't get a real job. He won't quit hanging on to this dream. And in a sense, it's like, you know what, good for him, because you deserve to be happy no matter where you work. But at the same time, you can also see Maggie's point of view too. Like, if you're going to have a child, be an artist, be the greatest one you can be, but also take care of your daughter. Do what's going to help now, you know? So I see both sides of the story, and yeah, it just didn't end well for them. You then kind of see that they kind of have like a joint custody kind of thing going on with Jenny, and Jeff currently has her at a coffee shop, randomly runs into an old high school friend named Connor, and they kind of exchange some words. Connor kind of offers him a job, but then he's like, oh yeah, it'd be nice to resurrect the Grizzlykin story, and Connor's just like, never mind, I gotta go. You know, so he doesn't really want to work with that series. He wants something new. He doesn't want, you know, the same old stuff that he was working on way back in high school. And Jeff gets a phone call from Maggie. They kind of are exchanging some unpleasant words, if you will. And I believe like the point of the phone call is just Maggie wants to take Jenny away from Jeff because, you know, he's not doing anything to support her. So she's like, you know, I'm taking her away. We're moving upstate to live with my parents, and you're not going to be able to see her anymore. And he basically says like, well, what gives you the right? And the last word she says is, because she was mine. And then, boom, car runs her over. She gets killed. Okay, not basically like 3 minutes after in the movie, they're already at like a funeral. Creepy stuff is already starting to happen. Jeff sees like a family mural that he painted where only Jeff's face was burning. And it's like, if that isn't a hint and a half enough for your ass, I don't know what is. All right. So obviously some creepy things are going to start to happen. Jenny starts seeing some very creepy things in her room. She tells her dad, and Jeff comes in. He's just like, well, why don't you try being friends with it? Because he didn't believe her. He's like, little kids and their imaginary friends, right? So she's like, you know what? Okay, yeah. And then we figure out that she's calling the imaginary friend Mommy. So in other words, Maggie was this imaginary friend, was this thing. And of course, Jeff didn't believe it. Jeff was like, whatever, kids. In between all the scary stuff, Jeff eventually goes back to Connor and says, you know what? I need to get a job. A real one that's going to be able to support Jenny. I don't care what you give me, even if it's like an inking job. Now, for everyone that's not really an artist, what inking means is basically when somebody draws a comic to you, or draws a comic, your job is to trace it with ink and basically publish it that way. But he designed his own, and even though he saw himself as better than that, he still took the job because he needed the job. Later, he starts working with a gentleman named Alan who wants a more creepy, dark comic. And he's like, oh, well, who better to help me than the guys who just had his wife get, run over and killed? So as Jeff is doing his job, he has a babysitter for Jenny named Samantha. And Samantha is just taking care of her, making sure things go pretty well while Jeff's at work. But Jeff, most of his assignments are more like a take-home, so he's able to work on it from home. So he starts seeing like these kind of things around the house, or at least in his dreams. And there's a double dream sequence that really kind of pisses me off because it was super anticlimactic. If you guys have seen the trailer, which I'll show a clip right now.
It's a message.
Yeah, if you've seen the trailer, you're like, what is that? I want to see what that is. And if you've seen the movie, you know what it is. It's very anticlimactic. It's the puppet thing comes out of the closet and does like this backwards fast spider crawl at him, and it can be creepy, I guess, at like maybe a split second. And then it's just like, okay, then what? And then he wakes up, and then there's like a little puppet woman in the middle of his room, or in the corner of his room, and then he wakes up again, and it's like, I thought we were done with horror movies and double dream sequences, but I guess I was wrong. Jeff starts to notice that Jenny is starting to become a little bit more odd, starts talking almost like a baby again. So she says things like, baby wants to draw, or baby wants this to eat, and like he finds it to be kind of weird.
What are you doing?
Baby is painting.
He starts to see that around the house, and so does Samantha, the babysitter, and then of course so does Jenny. And Jenny keeps referring to it as mom or mommy. So we figure out that creepy thing is actually Maggie trying to take her daughter back from Jeff. Separation. Okay, makes pretty good sense. But then I feel like the movie takes a really awkward turn. Okay, so the guy that Jeff is working for, Alan, he's a really strong believer in the paranormal. So he basically talks to Jeff about his problems going on at home and foreshadows most of the movie for the audience right there. Like, oh, this is what the evil spirit usually does, up to no good, and makes friends with the little girl, and then things start happening. It's like basically what happens. So he foreshadows it, which I found really funny in the end. He basically gives him like this potion or whatever that makes him go insanely trippy, and he hallucinates everything. And he kind of asks Maggie, like why she's there, if she can please stop, she's scaring Jenny, blah, blah, blah. And then he randomly wakes up. And that whole part just didn't really make sense to me. All this time that Jeff is dealing with this stuff, he also has Maggie's dad, which is Jenny's grandfather. He has him up his ass trying to take Jenny away from him too, because he doesn't have a real job. He can't be supportive. So he has to deal with not only creepy crap happening around his house, but also some old geezer trying to take Jenny away from him. So he's got it bad from all different kinds of angles. The movie takes a really interesting twist. Jenny ends up eating peanuts, even with her peanut allergy, and she starts having a really bad allergic reaction. And when he's trying to do like the Heimlich maneuver, he causes some bruises to Jenny. Well, when the police arrive, there's some kind of suspicion to abuse in the house. So he says that, it's not safe. He tells Paul, which is the grandfather, so Maggie's dad, that maybe Jenny is safer off with him. Okay, so he wants to kind of do everything right, sign the paperwork over so that Jenny has somewhere safe to be. In the process of doing all that, Paul gets an email from the investigative team about who killed Maggie, and they realize, dun dun dun, it was actually Samantha, the babysitter. And Samantha, the babysitter, wanted Jeff all to herself. Samantha's the one that also put the peanuts in the food for Jenny and almost tried to kill her. And then was like, oh no, I can't find the EpiPen. I also can't find my phone. That was like a total Get Out moment. And my girlfriend actually pointed this out. Like, remember in Get Out how she was like, Rose was just like, oh no, I can't find the keys. And then she's like, you know I can't give you those keys, right, Chris? So not only does it have those effects from like Get Out, but I feel like it also had like an Orphan kind of a feel. Because if you remember Orphan, they adopted her thinking that she was like this really cute girl, and then all of a sudden she turns out to be like an old ass woman, and she just poses as a girl, and she tries to kill the whole family, and you know, everything else. Basically the same thing. So it was basically like Orphan meets Get Out meets Mama. So that's why I don't give this movie a super high rating, because I feel like it's a couple of different ideas just mashed into one and then sloppily made. Like they didn't really try and clean it up. There was several confusing scenes that just, I don't know. I couldn't follow it. Like the random red flashes. There's random red flashes where the, like, kind of like the lights in the background there, but it's the whole screen, and all you see is like, you know, Jeff just like kind of like dozing off, and then he's like drawing like the shadow figure, or they're at like the park, and you know, he sees Jenny kind of watching this puppet show in the middle of the park, and then everything goes red, and all the people are like looking at him going like, making like some like ugly weird face, and then it just stops, and it gives no explanation of that, and I don't get why, and I wish that there was some kind of explanation. Samantha turns out to be the murderer of Maggie, which is why Maggie's so pissed off. So yeah, I would expect Maggie to try and kill Samantha. And even though she failed earlier in the movie with trying to suffocate her with the sheets, you know, she kind of went all crazy and was like, well, you know, if, you know, she was making you unhappy and blah, blah, blah. She kind of had those crazy eyes, and she just like, I just want you all to myself, Jeff, blah, blah, blah. And he was just kind of like, okay, put the glass down. You're literally cutting your own hand, but that's cool, I guess. And then she's like, do you have anything else to say? And then he's just like, yeah, goodbye, Samantha. And then, of course, Maggie was there in the corner and just kind of wrapped her up and made her stab herself in the neck with the glass. And everything was good. Paul also got knocked all the way down the stairs, which I believe that was by Samantha. It just didn't show who did it, because he found out that Samantha was the one that was driving the car that hit Maggie. So he was like, okay, I know who it is. I'm going to email this to Jeff. I'm going to tell Jeff the truth, and everything's going to be great. Then he got pushed down the stairs, damn near almost killed. One thing that I really noticed about the movie that I've seen a lot of complaints about is that both Maggie and Samantha, the women characters that were in the movie, were seen as like these bitter, crazy, demented, like out of their mind women, and Jeff was just like this, you know, innocent victim. And it's just like, you know, while I'm saying there can be, you know, innocent guys out there as well, but it's almost like the director went out of his way a little bit to kind of make it seem like the women in Jeff's life were all just these crazy bitches, and like, you know, like he didn't give any good side to either one of them, except for Samantha was, you know, helpful and stuff, and, you know, kind of sweet and cute, but then went completely crazy. So you have a bitter, you know, divorcee that, or the divorcee, you have a bitter divorcee that, you know, just wants to take the daughter away from him because he's a loser and he doesn't want anything to do with him. And then you have this psychopath. So it's just like the women characters in this movie don't get a lot of love. Let's just say that. So this movie did get a lot of backlash for that, and you know, I could see it. I'd be lying if I said I didn't see it. So all in all, music was great. Some of the imagery was okay. It was good. I liked the Grizzlykin doll. Like, they looked really creepy, and I liked that. I just wish they would have expanded on that a little more. The storyline, like I said, it felt like a couple different movies just kind of thrown together, and it was very sloppy. The confusing parts that have no explanation didn't help anything whatsoever. And then the characters' relatability wasn't wasn't really there either. You know, it was just like, yeah, you feel bad for the characters, and you know, you feel bad that Maggie got, you know, killed like that, but it's just, they didn't have a lot of relatable qualities. It was just like, okay, you know, he was struggling. It's 2021, who isn't struggling? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you agree with some of my opinions, or if you don't and you have your own, let me know down in the comments. I'd be really interested to see what you guys say about the movie, or what you guys think. And yeah, definitely let me know. I'll definitely make a follow-up video if I get enough responses. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Hiya, Georgie. Time to float.